Ladies and gentlemen, I'm P. Shravan Kumar, the founder of SK Associates and Group, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to Conference 4.5, wherein we'll explore the topic Employment Law Essentials for Entrepreneurs in collaboration with our esteemed brand partners, Symbiosis Center of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Symbiosis International University, SIES College of Management Studies, Mumbai, BMS Institute of Technology and Management, Bangalore, Sanjeevani University, Kopargaon, Motibabu Institute of Technology, Bihar, Sanskriti University, Mathura, SVKM Susha Praveen Gandhi College, Mumbai, Sri Vishwakarma Skill University, Haryana, St. Paul Institute of Professional Studies, Indore, Sri Ramakrishna Degree and PG College, Nandyal, TRC Mahavidyalay, Uttar Pradesh, Sandeep University, Nashik, Maristella College, Vijayawada, Bombay College of Pharmacy, Mumbai, KCS Jalgaon College, Indus International University, Himachal Pradesh, Van Valley State College, Nepal. We would also like to extend our thanks to our esteemed media partners, namely Hind Chakra Media, Daily Hunt News, Republic News India, Flipboard Times, RDTimes.in, the Indian Bulletin, Indian Sentinel, Abhyuday Times, News Outlook, National Age, Times Bulletin, Prevalent India, The Fortune India, Pioneer News, India Influencer, Indian Scoops, Bharat Herald, Youth News Express, The Telegraph News, Newsmint 24, IT India Thrive, Hindustan Saga, My Maharashtra, BharatMirror.com, India News 24, News Streamline, ScrollNews.in, RKD Live, Press Journal, Newshead.in, Telangana Post, Metro City News, The National Reader, and lastly, Let India Shine for the collaboration, support, and helping us deliver this session on international scale. Moving forward, we would also like to extend our thanks and our greetings to our legal partners, Advocate Rama Shankar Tiwari, Allahabad High Court, Senior Advocate Shishir Kumar Saxena, Supreme Court of India, Advocate Balaratna Kumar, AP and Telangana High Court, Advocate Krishpi Anthony, Kerala High Court, Advocate Vikas Kumar Dangi, Delhi and Haryana High Court, Advocate Kiran Rajendra Makhare, Mumbai High Court, Advocate Agam Shah, Ahmedabad High Court, Advocate Anandar Biranwar, Karnataka High Court, and Senior Advocate Pramod Kumar Singh, Delhi and Patna High Court. We are honored to host a distinguished panel of accomplished lawyers, legal advisors, startup mentors, and academicians as our guest speakers in this conference. Their extensive expertise in business law and partnerships will provide you all with deep insights into the legal considerations essential for forming a successful business partnership. By the end of this conference, we hope you will gain valuable legal and strategic perspectives to guide your entrepreneurial journey. So, before we delve into our topic for today, let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Group. We are an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMED Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs globally, covering areas such as compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital, strategy, and operations. Our passion lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bring their dreams to life and contribute to global economic growth. At SK Associates and Group, we take pride in offering tailor-made solutions to our clients. Our team of transformational consultants has a deep-rooted passion for entrepreneurship, and they bring extensive experience and expertise to every project. Over the past 3 years, we have built a network of 5,000 plus consultants from 30 plus countries, representing diverse universities, industries, functional roles, and backgrounds. Our ultimate goal is to assist 600 million students in India by providing pro bono consulting services in areas such as strategy, operations, human capital, compliance, legal advisory, research and development, taxation, and marketing. We also plan to invest 500 crores USD in their startups by 2035, creating more than 5,000 employment opportunities for startup experts, advisors, mentors, and research scholars. Our vision is to contribute to global economic growth by empowering the next generation of iconic organizations. Collaborations and strategic alliances are the key to achieving our mission. We are committed to promoting entrepreneurship development and community impact with a focus on empowering students for global economic growth. We aim to partner with over 1,000 plus universities and colleges by 2030, providing guidance and mentorship to students as they embark on their startup journeys. The enthusiasm and interest we see among students for entrepreneurship nowadays is truly inspiring. Startups have the potential to address critical social, economic, and geopolitical challenges through innovative business models. By promoting sustainable entrepreneurship, we can drive positive change and we can also create a brighter future for all. Entrepreneurs not only generate job opportunities but also stimulate economic growth, offer innovative solutions to consumer needs, and foster collaborations with other businesses. We have witnessed remarkable success stories wherein entrepreneurs have tackled issues such as climate change, waste management, education, and many others. Now, since entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation, it's a powerful force that has been able to reshape industries, transform lives, and make this world a better place to live in. We are committed to supporting student entrepreneurs on the journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and networks they need to succeed. At SK Associates and Group, we are immensely grateful for the dedicated support of our executive management team, including Ms. Vaishali Shri, Head of Human Resources, Mr. Faiz Siddiqui, Public Relations Manager, Ms. Pooja Kumari, Organizational Development Coordinator, Ms. Rima Kumari, Employee and Customer Relations Coordinator, and the rest of our associates. The unwavering commitment has played a pivotal role in our growth and development. Thanks to their dedication, we can make a meaningful impact on the entrepreneurial ecosystem by inspiring, educating, and mentoring young individuals, encouraging them to pursue entrepreneurship instead of a corporate. Now, before we dive into our discussions for today, let's take a moment to introduce our esteemed lineup of guest speakers and tap into the wealth of wisdom they bring to the table. I would like to request all the audience to kindly switch on your webcams, including our honorable panelists for today. Sure. Our first speaker for today is none other than Ms. Shruti Deshpande, who is the founder and managing partner of Flag GRC, a leading consultancy in governance, risks, and compliance. An Indian lawyer with a master's in international business law from the University of London. She is also an internationally certified compliance and ethics professional, CCEP Level 1, and a certified senior lead auditor for ISO 37301. With over 15 plus years of experience across 50 plus global jurisdictions, Ms. Deshpande has led key compliances and risk functions across industries, including senior roles at Legasis and Deloitte. At Flag GRC, she helps organizations strengthen compliance frameworks, manage regulatory risk, and foster ethical governance. A global insight and practical exposure make her a leading voice in the GRC space. Our next speaker for today is none other than Professor Ranjit Jha, an assistant professor at D.Y. Patil Institute of Management Studies and a passionate academician focused on bridging the gap between industry and academia. Currently pursuing a PhD in Employee Experience Management from Savitribai Phule Pune University, Professor Jha also holds an MBA in HR, a diploma in labor laws, and has completed his executive studies at IIM Bangalore. With prior teaching experience at Singer Institute of Management and over 10 plus research papers published in Scopus Index journals already, he brings both depth and relevance to his subject. Mr. Jha is also the founder of Imperial Academy of Skill Development, IASD, an initiative dedicated to equipping students with practical skills for today's professional landscape. His academic insights and industry-oriented approach make him a valuable contributor to our conversations on talent, training, and organizational development. Next up, we have none other than Ms. Akshita Jaiswal, corporate lawyer currently working as an associate in the general corporate and real estate practice as Sapphire and Sage law officers. She specializes in advising startups and emerging businesses on risk allocation, compliance, and a wide range of corporate legal matters. Known for a practical and strategic approach, Ms. Jaiswal works closely with the early stage ventures to help them navigate the legal complexities of growth and innovation. A passion for supporting entrepreneurship combined with a strong foundation in corporate law makes her a valuable voice for founders looking to build agile and legally sound business models. Now, coming to our final speaker of the day, it's none other than Ms. Neo Moshigere, who is the Associate Director and Head of Labor and Employment Laws as DM5 Incorporated, Nigeria. An experienced attorney of the High Court with over 15 plus years of practice, she specializes in employment law, representing clients in disciplinary inquiries and before forums such as CCMA, Labor Court, and Labor Appeal Court. Ms. Moshiger also advises on employment contracts, HR policies, retrenchments, and business transfers, offering both legal and commercial insights. She'll soon be joining Lawton's Africa as a senior associate. Her deep expertise makes her a valuable voice on managing workplace compliance and employment risk. So, welcome everyone, and it's an honor to have you all with us today. Your expertise adds a special dimension to our conference, making it a unique and insightful gathering. Now, before we begin the conference, we would like to request all of you to join your respective webcams. We would also like to inform you that the HR team will be conducting polls in the chat box throughout the session, and we encourage you all to participate actively in them. Now, moving ahead, I would like to invite our first speaker for today, Ms. Shruti Deshpande, and request her to commence her speech and share her insights with all of us. Welcome, Shruti.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to address this audience here. And all of them seem to be pretty, excited. Just one thing, I have been told that I get 15 minutes, right, to speak. That's
Yeah,
right?
you can continue on for more than that time. We have a
Okay, no, I
panelist.
have accordingly designed my content because I would like other speakers also to get their due slots. So I wouldn't like to go ahead. I
Sure,
wouldn't like
sure.
to delay. But there, yeah. So let's then start. Thank you so much for joining once again, everyone, and very good evening to all of you. Those who've joined from India, from others, greetings for your respective time zones. Um, so my name is Shruti Deshpande, and my detailed introduction has already been given to you. So I will directly jump to the topic that I thought I would be able to cover, in the given 15 minutes. It's difficult to wrap up any topic in the given 15 minutes, but I'm still going to try my best. So so I think as entrepreneurs, I myself have been an entrepreneur very recently. I have started my entrepreneurial journey 2.5 years ago now. Before that, I was leading the teams at MNCs. But then, yes, being an entrepreneur just gives you a different level of experience and a different kind of outlook to viewing the risk, right? So I think as entrepreneurs, we are often encouraged to move fast and take risks, right? But when it comes to employment law, even a small mistake can lead to big problems for your scaling, for your business, right? So, for example, whether you are a founder in San Francisco, or whether you are a startup in Bangalore, or maybe scaling or growing your business in Dubai, or you could be in any corner of the globe. There is one truth I think that holds globally, and I think that is that employment law is no longer a back office concern. That is the perspective I think that everybody should change now. That is not something that you just have to manage at the back end. It has become a boardroom priority now. The kind of laws that are coming up across the globe, and the kind of topics that are becoming important, or the rights and obligations and duties that are becoming important for all kinds of stakeholders involved in this, I think the landscape is changing very fast. I would say faster than ever. So, for example, privacy. Now, everybody must have heard of privacy laws, and that matters to you a lot as an employer when you are, storing your employees' data. Then inclusion is a big concern nowadays. Equality, equity is a big concern. Then tech. Whenever as an employer you would be or as an entrepreneur you would be using various tech platforms for your internal employment management, then the tech comes into the picture. Then you may have global teams working on in the same setup. You may have somebody from Asia, somebody from America, somebody from Europe, and all of them would have their own national laws to comply with. So there's a lot nowadays that an employer or an entrepreneur has to stay on top of, right? So, but then here's some good news. I am not here to drown you into this legal jargon. I'm here to just give you an important insight as to what are those 7 biggest employment law watchouts that you need to be aware of as a modern entrepreneur, no matter where you build your business, okay, no matter which part of the globe you are in. So that is what I thought I could quickly cover in the in this given time. That of course I have chosen the number to be 7. It could be 10, it could be 15. The list is just this list might go on, but on a broader level I have just put together these 7 aspects of watch outs that you need to be aware of. So aren't these aren't just going to be legal risks, but they are also going to be some business risks. So being proactive about them can really save you from some lawsuits, penalties, or reputational damage, or whatever consequences it may bring you otherwise. And at the same time, ensuring that you are still building a very strong and sustainable workplace culture. Okay, so these seven employment law watchouts we are going to see one by one. The first and foremost is data privacy and employee monitoring. As we spoke, everybody here must be aware of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act and rules that are coming up now in India, right? The act has already been enacted. The rules are soon going to be the draft rules have been published, and the main rules they are soon to be notified, and then everybody will have to comply with the DPDP Act. In fact, there's a lot of assessment also that we offer at Flag GRC because clients want to be sure that they are prepared to start complying or implementing DPDP. So data privacy and employee monitoring is the first thing. So many aspects can be considered under this head, like employee surveillance. If you are keeping a watch on your employees, the other day I was listening to a podcast in the US where in certain states in the US you have to seek employees' consent if you have to really put CCTV surveillance cameras in your manufacturing units. Now, that's something one would have never imagined, right? Because that's so important from your safety point of view. But then that is something that, from the privacy point of view, they have made a provision where you have to seek that kind of consent from your employees. So, employee surveillance could be an important critical matter. Productivity tools, if you are implementing any productivity tools to measure the productivity of your employees. Biometric. Now, even the smallest organization nowadays may have biometric, right? If you are going for any of your ISO certifications, then you might have biometric, or you might have access control for your securing your physical as well as software premises. So from that you seek very important information, personal data of your employees, and that is something you have to protect, right? Then remote work. Now, after COVID, lots of companies have continued to allow remote working for your employees, and that is also where the privacy and the other risks may come. So, all of these could be under the data privacy and employee monitoring risks. And from the global point of view, also, you all must have heard of GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, which is a key regulation of Europe in terms of data privacy. CCA also, California Consumer Privacy Act, and India's DPDP, as I talked about. So all these have made employee data protection a very, very front and center issue from the legal and employment point of view. Yeah, then the second watch out point that I thought would be important um, is anti-harassment and discrimination frameworks, right? So laws around, you already know the POSH law, that is the most important law in India, irrespective of how many people and what kind of business you have, right? Of course, the applicability is for certain compliances. It goes if you have 10 plus employees, etc. But then mostly anti-discrimination compliances or and anti-harassment compliances apply to you. So laws around sexual harassment, bullying, gender, race, caste, religious bias, etc. They are not only just tightening, but also enforcement and audit mechanisms are getting stronger, right? Around these. So there are lots of vendors that you will see who offer trainings, audits, enforcement of these laws, because that is the need today. Employers are not able to get their or wrap their heads around these laws by themselves. They need external assistance. So if you have a global workplace, then if you have people working from different parts of the world, then you need clearer policies and safer redressal systems, because every country may come up with their own national benchmarking separately. So India already has POSH, as I told you. India also has equal remuneration. Now, most of the clients that I talk to, they do not know what this law is, Equal Remuneration Act and rules. You can Google about this. You can read more about this. The act says that you have to pay equally to the male employer and female employee, sorry, to the male employee and female employee if they are doing the similar nature of job. And if you also have to maintain a register as to what kind of work they are doing and how much you're paying them, so that if there's an audit that happens, you can always demonstrate that you are paying them equally, right? So anti-harassment and discrimination frameworks is the second watch out that employers have to or entrepreneurs as employers have to look for. Third is diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates, right? DEI is the term. Now, from board level gender diversity to hiring and accommodation obligations for, let's say, transgender persons, persons with disabilities, laws are moving from just mere suggestions to actual statutory mandates, right? They are no longer just the white papers or something that has remained futuristic, or India may have a consultation paper issued, but they are actually the statutory mandates now. So if you see, India has already come up with transgenders persons equal opportunity law, and then persons with disabilities laws and rule act and rules has come up just recently, 5 6 years ago. You can read more about it. So in that, if you see, equal employment opportunity is the basic is the key compliance that they have provisioned for. So that is the policy that every employer has to have, and that is the policy which has to be, if you have a website, then that policy needs to be displayed over there. If you have a shop and establishment, or if you have a proper office, then at the prominent plus place near the door, that policy has to be displayed, so that people applying to your organization know from the outside that this place is open to to applying to this. So that inclusion nowadays is given a big importance. Okay, and there are legal penalties if you don't do this. Then I think the fourth point is about modern slavery and human trafficking regulations. Now, in India, we may not have heard so much about it, but if you are, planning to expand globally, then you definitely need to be aware of it, because that's a supply chain related compliance, and in supply chain, you don't really have that kind of control, to tighten your supply chain. You can go up to your first level of vendors, second level of vendors, but how many levels you will go ahead to find out if anybody is sourcing any material or sourcing any resources from these affected areas, right? So supply chain is something that you really need to have tighter control over to be able to implement these obligations. So entrepreneurs in manufacturing, logistics, hospitality, or even tech for that matter, they need to vet their supply chains and make sure that all the vendors that they are dealing with are also compliant with anti-human trafficking regulations, right? So UK's Modern Slavery Act and Rules is the landmark, I think, law across the globe when it comes to this particular benchmarking, this particular uh, um area of law. So you can check those out. There are some of the key compliances around those laws are transparency statements. You have to publish on your website the anti-human trafficking statement, where you can say that, okay, this is the level of our supply chain transparency, and we are not you have to give a declaration saying that we are not practicing any slavery and trafficking here, right? So that is the undertaking, even for the startups, that has been made in certain cases mandatory, and that is the kind of undertaking you have to give, and you will be held liable if you are found going against it. So the fifth point, I think, is contractor versus employee misclassification. Right now, this is an era of gig economy, right? Everybody knows what a gig economy is. So that's a gig economy boom, and there's a lot of legal confusion around the person that you are taking, is whether that person is a full-time employee as such, or that person is working with you in a freelance role, or that person is actually a contractor or a retainer, etc. Now, in India, if you see, most of the labor laws are applicable to you if you have 10 plus employees, right? When you say an employee, the definition is very robust, that has to be an employee working full time for you on your payroll, right? So what happens is, there have been times like last 20 30 years where people have been, or employers have been, choosing to keep their actual employees number below 10, so that there will be less compliance burden there. So what is the option to that? Is alternative to that is you treat all your people on a contract basis as a contractor, right? So you take them as retainers, you can take them on contract basis, so that you may not have to deal with certain numbers going above 10. But now this loophole is being addressed by many. Sorry, are there any chats or messages for me that I should be looking at?
Yeah,
Just
Ms.
let me know.
Deshpande, we can go with the questions at the last, I
Okay,
guess.
right, cool. Um, so now this loophole is being addressed to a large extent by court of law, and you can find some judgments where courts are actually being able to separate whether an employer has taken advantage of this provision and this confusion, or this separation between the two roles. And they have actually asked certain employers to go to have the same level of compliance ensured, even if that is just they are just employing 10 plus contractors, not just employees. So that kind of misclassification, and of course with the new labor codes coming up, you will get more clarity about that, because in the new labor codes also, when you appoint contract labor, as such, they have the new labor codes say that for your core areas of work you cannot appoint contract labor. Now again, what is a labor, what is an employee, a white collar, blue collar employee, that is all a separate discussion to have, but you can definitely keep a watch out on this classification when you are doing one. Definitely make sure that it's a studied one, informed one, and don't just rely on the definition as such. The sixth point I would say is AI and algorithmic bias when you hire or in management. Okay, so there are lots of AI tools in the space of labor and employment, or HR, for measuring the performance of your employees, or for hiring purposes, etc. So there are lots of legislation currently which are advising companies against this algorithmic discrimination, because they think that that is leading to some sort of discrimination while selecting employees. So when you are using AI tools, don't just go with them blindly. See what exactly it is giving you as a result, and see if those results are restricted by any AI regimes across the globe. Now, Europe has come up with a big AI Act. I think some part of it has already been enforced early this year in February, and some part of it is due to be enforced next year sometime by June, if I'm not wrong. So that has also given risk-based classification as to what kind of AI tools companies can use, what kind of AI tools are entirely prohibited, and what is the level of compliance that you have to ensure if you are using those AI tools. Okay, so that kind of risk classification is given, and of course that legislation is mainly for people who are offering AI tools and AI services, but the people who are using them also will indirectly be liable. So some US states and some EU laws are already requiring algorithm audits and transparency in their use. So India hasn't yet come up with the perfect concrete AI regime. We are still, coming up with the DPDPA, but I'm sure it must be. I know a provision. I think SEBI had opened up an AI sandbox for certain AI players to experiment certain things without any compliance or legal burden. So it's not that our government is not exploring in anything in that direction. They are definitely going up. So we might soon have something on that front too. So as an employer, you need to also be very sure as to what kind of AI and algorithmic bias you are using. And I think the last watch out point would be cross-border remote work compliance. As I said, you may have a developer coming in from Vietnam, you may have a designer from Portugal, you may have an admin sitting here in India. So each one brings a separate set of local employment obligations. Some may have social security, some may have taxes, some may have health coverage. In India, you may have different kinds of benefits that you need to ensure for them. So you need to watch out from where you are hiring these people, although they are working remotely, right? Even in the US, if you have an entity incorporated in just one state, but if you are actually taking people who are working from other states, even though they are working from home, you need to be compliant with those state laws for some of their obligations, employee related obligations. So remote work is not means no compliance is a myth. Okay, you still need to see what kind of compliances that is going to um, bring up. So you have to have a policy that is basically aligned to all the locations from where you're sourcing your employees globally, and not just where your office is, right? So just to summarize, I think we had data privacy and employee monitoring as a watch out point. We have anti-harassment and discrimination frameworks that you definitely need to keep an eye out on. We have diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates that you may need to have in your HR policies as an employer, as a modern employer, I would say. Then you will have modern slavery and human trafficking regulations that you need to watch out for. Then the fifth point was contractor versus employee classification is definitely something where you need to take a legal studied opinion before you go ahead. Then sixth point I spoke about is the AI and algorithmic bias. AI tools which may cause algorithmic bias. I'm not saying all of them cause that. So those are the tools that you need to definitely watch before you implement them. And the seventh point was cross-border remote work compliance. So I think as a global or as a modern employer, it's very important that you keep watching in these spaces before you before you just venture into these things. So I think that is what I thought I could cover in the given time, which could be on a broader level beneficial to all the entrepreneurs who are, who are already employers or who are soon going to be employers, and happy to take questions.
I have a small question for you, Shruti ji, which is
Yeah,
quite
please.
common since her audience is comprised of our entirely entrepreneurial segment. And entrepreneurs are very commonly known to get stuck in the fundraising process. So, as a
Okay.
lawyer, what would be your advice to an entrepreneur who is looking to raise investments and an alternative to him offering equity in return for investment? What would be some alternatives?
Um, sure. So I think I have a mixed view on this because I know that as an entrepreneur, we may be really scared of diluting our equity and giving anybody else control over what we are doing. But I think it depends a lot on what kind of business you have. You need to first identify that even if you get funds, what is it that you are going to do with those funds, right? If you are just going to, you're going to maybe build some AI tools, you're going to need those funds to innovate, you're going to register yourself as a startup, etc. Then in that case, I think those funds may really be used to, build value. But if you're just going to use those funds to fund your 5 years employee's salary, then you need to, I think, rethink about it, because there are lots of processes automation nowadays that can actually help you do that in lesser amounts. So I think that is one thing that I would definitely give a thought before saying that, as an entrepreneur, I'm in need of investments and I'm going to go raise capital from outside. And to answer your second part of the question, I think there is one more thing that people can think of directly before jumping to the equity part of it, that is debt. So you can also take debts before diluting your equity, right? Before taking investments to dilute your equity. There are lots of schemes of governments, lots of banks who are ready to help MSMEs, and there are lots of advisors who will help you understand how to do these. So I think definitely you can think of debts if you are so particular about not diluting your stakes to investors. So that is how I would answer your question.
As in, apart from equity, what would be other monetary instruments that entrepreneurs can offer? Like debentures, are there any other things that can be offered in turn for short time working capital or something like that?
I think, okay, that way, from the company side, I think shares, debentures, it also depends a lot on what kind of company you have, right? You may have a private limited company, you have a partnership, or if you have a sole proprietorship. So it depends a lot on what structure you have to be able to offer it. Secondly, I think it also depends on what kind of valuation you're getting done for yourself. So if my 5% of my business is going to mean something and 5% of somebody else's business is going to mean something else. So it also depends a lot on whether you want to dilute your equity, or you want to give debentures, or you want to give them profits, or you want to give them, maybe you meet an investor tomorrow who says, don't give me anything in 10 years. And wherever you meet, you go, you reach in the next 10 years, I want 50% of it. It could be anything that you may want. But there are different options legally also under Companies Act. Also, you can find those options out. But what I'm saying is, it really is subjective in terms of what kind of business you have, what kind of entity you have, and what kind of valuation you have gotten done.
I would like you to request you to just go through the questions in the chat that we have from the audience
Yeah.
and answer them.
Okay.
And then, if anyone else has any questions, you can either type them.
Let's read. Okay. Exactly, Shruti. Exactly. It was in the US, I think, as a leader in the legal profession and a woman heading a specialized level of practice, what have been some of your most defining professional challenges and achievements? How do you mentor young legal professionals, especially women, to not just understand the black letter law, but also develop the leadership and negotiation skills essential for working advancing? Okay, so I think to answer this question in short, I would definitely say that introduction of tech has definitely been one thing that I would recommend to all the people. I think that is generally, for me, the most defining professional challenge and achievement. I think has been that my business is a legal tech business, and people are not, or MSMEs are not so keen on introducing tech in their business. So that is where my challenge definitely lies. But I think even for myself, my co-founder is a software engineer, and the perspective he has brought to my business, I think, has just transformed everything. So I think tech is definitely, or automation is definitely something that you should see. Now, if you see my profession, it doesn't even need tech intervention, right? But then with this legal tech venture that we have set up, it has taken us to the next level. It has built such a differentiator for us that nobody can beat, right? So that is something I would definitely advise, and especially women. Um, I would say stop calling yourself an especially woman thing. We are just all, there out in the race. Men are facing their own share of challenges. Women are facing their own share of challenges. Everybody has their own challenges. So I think just face the market as an individual and as a professional. Don't, if you stop calling yourself a woman professional, others will also stop looking at you as a woman professional. So I think just go there as an individual professional, and so I have had an opportunity to, you know, um, be a part of the boardroom that has had 16, 17 men, and me just, me being the only woman in the room. But I have never let that affect me. And I have given the impression to others also that that shouldn't be even under discussion here. So let's just talk business. So that's how I think women also should approach these things. I hope I have been able to answer your question right. Given your extensive experience in labor law and your role, how do you perceive evolving landscape of labor compliances in India, especially in the context of four labor codes? What are the most significant challenges, particularly for MSMEs and startups? I would say the one, in terms of new labor codes also, and in terms of existing labor law approach also that is generally undertaken in the market, I would advise that do not stay away from compliance. I think that's more costly. So if you stay non-compliant just to avoid the cost of the law or the compliance, that's going to cost you even more at some point of time. It's better that you just do the compliance and get done with it. I think that is generally more a cheaper option. That is what I also advise people. So that is one thing that I would say. And from the labor codes point of view, I think it's going to transform the labor laws implementation in India. The government has already been doing a lot in terms of removing redundancies from these laws. Some of the laws, have dated back to 1930s and 20s, and government has already been removing those provisions, those laws, and labor codes will, I think those whole, that whole list of 30, 40, 50 laws that we have to comply with together right now, they will all be subsumed under, I think 29 laws are going to be subsumed under this four labor codes. So from the compliance point of view, a lot of burden is going to be removed. When I say a lot of burden, compliances will remain because they are necessary, but the paperwork and a lot of that aspect which makes it cumbersome, that is going to definitely go away from the labor codes point of view. And I'm taking the next question. In the current era of remote work, gig employment, and flexible workplace arrangements, how do you foresee traditional labor laws adapting to these new realities? Could you share specific instances of cases where your firm has had to innovate or reinterpret? Okay, so I'll tell you. So we do a lot of gap analysis for a lot of companies in terms of labor laws, what they are doing, what they are not doing, are they updated in terms of their labor framework? And I see that I think only 2 or 3% of the HR teams that I have met so far even know about Transgenders and Persons with Disabilities Act and rules. So that is the kind of awareness because our traditional labor laws did not require it. So the awareness level is very, very low, and that is why, uh, it's very simple to get the policy done under that law. So it's very simple, easy to comply with these laws actually, but they have not done it because they are just not aware of it. So definitely, I think in terms of adapting to new realities, you should definitely, HR teams or employees should definitely keep themselves upgraded as to what kind of new laws are coming up. There are many vendors like us who do that, who keep posting those on our portals. We give that service also as a standalone service of keeping our clients updated on regulatory changes. And these are not the laws like Factories Act, where you have to take up a very costly implementation program. Very simple to comply with. It's just that you need to know about them. So that was what I would say, adapting to new realities. I think the next one is a poll question, right? So
Yeah, it's for the
that is
audience.
for the audience. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Now I would
anything
like
else?
to invite the audience to put forth their questions, if any.
Yeah.
If anyone has any other questions, you may simply raise your hand. No questions?
I
I guess
hope I
that
was
would
able to give some valuable insights.
obviously, Shrutiji. That was a great time learning from you. And obviously, the gig work policy was dispute is still going on in the industry. Some are
Yes.
agreeing, some do not agree, some have already
Right.
implemented, some are totally so disastrously against it that I guess SC has a lot of litigations from Infosys pending.
Yes.
Nonetheless.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for your views on
So
that topic, especially. That gives me a clear
yes.
insight as a consultant. Thank you a lot. It was a great plan
Sure.
talking.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me once again, and have a lovely evening, everybody. Thank you for listening to me.
Just a last request, Shrutiji, if you could just share your
Sure.
email ID in the chat box so that if anyone has any further questions or want
Yes,
to reach out,
of
can
course.
directly connect. Sure. Now, moving ahead, I would like to thank Ms. Shruti Deshpande for an amazing and informative speech that gave us so many insights into multiple areas of labor laws, not just one. And now, moving ahead, I would also like to welcome Professor Anjeet Jha from Dr. D.Y. Patil University to commence his speech and share his insights with all of us.
Uh, Good evening. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible, Mr. Jha. If you could just
Okay.
switch on your webcam, you would be visible.
Actually, sorry, there's a technical glitch because I was trying when I was listening to the ma'am, but I could not succeed. That
Sure,
just
sure.
I'm trying even, but just
Sure,
I'm
no
going to
issue.
commence it without even video right now. If, as soon as I'll progress, I'll see that if the technical glitch would be solved. Meanwhile, during this speech, that it
Sure,
will
sure.
be.
You can share your.
Okay, first and foremost, thank you, sir, you that you have invited me for this international conference 4.5, where the young people, those who are entrepreneurs, because I'm in the teaching profession, so because I have been teaching MBA students, so every day I interact with them and just I listen to them, see what kind of idea they are having, whether they wish to go for a job or they wish to start their own ventures later on after the completion of MBA program. So just I'm in this professions, but I got this opportunity to just share my views about the legal aspect of entrepreneurs. That what are the things they have to look for even when they are going to start or they wish to start. So just I would like to share one PPT and accordingly just do that.
Dr. Jha, if you could just speak a bit louder, it would be a pleasure.
Okay. Now, sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, but if
Hello.
like the voice is coming a bit feeble, if you could just increase the volume, your presentation is
Okay.
clearly visible.
Okay. Okay, sir. Now am I audible, sir?
Yeah, now you're clearly audible. Please continue.
Okay. So, just when we see these two keywords, especially law and entrepreneurs, the employment laws and entrepreneurs, then we have to just, before starting my slides, just let me clarify why it is a pivotal. What is the role of law when even young entrepreneurs they wish to start? Even when we see that law has become increasingly crucial, like for entrepreneurs and managers and professionals. But if you see the laws, it remains constantly changing and uncertain. When we see the lawmakers, courts, they are finding it difficult to keep pace with technological progress, particularly if we see since the internet has evolved from a tool for academic and scientific and the question arises that what are entrepreneurs and managers to do? So the first things I would like to say that just get into the game, even if the rules are not clear. For example, if an entrepreneur is not convinced that obtaining a patent will give the company a competitive advantage, even though it may be critical to have like a bargaining chip if charged with infringing someone else's patent. Second, also we have to see that it is a very important for entrepreneurs and managers to appreciate and just see how central law is for effective management in today's global marketplace. So I know that this conference is going to identify many of the legal issues that is likely to arise in the course of this starting and growing this ventures company. And not only that, but also for using the law and legal system to increase predictability, maximize value, muscle resources, and manage risk. The first thing is I was reading one case study while teaching the MBA students that four or five vitamin manufacturers companies in 1999, right, they were fined $862 million for participating in a cartel to fix prices for wholesale vitamins. You must have heard the name of Hoffman LaRose. That alone paid $500 million. And four officers at Hoffman LaRose and BASF, the same uh, companies, were sentenced to prisons and fined a total of rupees like $625,000. So what I would like to suggest, right, the first thing, if you know the law, definitely that would keeping you out of trouble. If any entrepreneurs, right, besides, I mean, so whatever business you are going to start, knowing the law, right, knowing the employment law definitely could keep you out of the trouble. Now, the first questions comes, right, with the students that, okay, so is the slide changing, sir?
No, it hasn't changed for us.
Okay, okay. Excuse me. Just wait.
So you may want to go to the presentation view on your right hand side in the at the bottom, just besides the Zoom bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, on left side of the Zoom
On the
bar.
left side
Just,
of
just,
the Zoom bar.
just wait 1 minute, please. I'm just again
You can
just
else just go to the slideshow drop down menu and choose it too. The slideshow drop down menu, Dr. Shah.
okay, okay. Just sir, I'm just
Hmm.
trying. It's, I don't know.
So can you see notes and comments over there? Yeah, notes and comments just after that.
On the right side of.
On the right side of the on the left side of the Zoom bar.
Yes, this one. Okay, again, I'm
So,
just sharing again.
Just check, Mr. Jha, if you are not able to share slideshow the entire screen, you can just change the slides maybe.
Yes, it has
Okay.
come now.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
but it is not changing.
Just go to the,
Yeah, it's clear.
you can press down arrow.
Yes, I'm pressing, but it is not the slides.
If you can press the right side cursor on your keyboard, Dr. Jha, it will move to the next slide.
Yes, I'm just changing it, but I don't know what happened.
Just press escape on your keyboard, Dr. Jha.
Escape. Okay. Once again.
You can just click escape and close the screen and just s- start again. Yeah, Anjit ji, if there's a technical error, you can continue without the presentation. It's okay. Totally fine. Am I
Okay.
audible, Anjit ji?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. And just
Sure.
I'm seeing only one MSS slide, one slides of my PPT because there are certain slides because for the students, especially those are here for knowing this things about entrepreneurships and the legal aspects. So for them, there was some the jargon things and some the thing that I would like to just suggest to them. So for them, it was a significant. Rest of the things because all the professionals are there. So for them, it is not problem. But for the students, those who are for them, just I wanted to just show the PPT. By the way. Okay, so sir, I'm continuing it, right? I'll see because because of technical glitch. I don't know why the slides is not because first slides I'm able to see that, but the second slides and third, fourth that because there are 9 slides on the PPT, they are not visible. Okay, so may I go for that? Hello.
Yeah, you're audible, Dr. Jha. Please continue.
Okay, okay, sir. So the first slides it was uh, now, sir, visible.
Yeah, now
Yes.
your screen is clearly visible.
Okay. So when we see the first for those who are newly in this, those who want to know go for this entrepreneurship, that what are the stages of the entrepreneurship that every entrepreneur they have to go, and then we can understand that okay, what are the laws that are good essentials that are the pivotal for knowing the things, right? Now, when we see the first part, that is called identifying uh, the opportunity and defining the value propositions. Now, what is the meaning of it? Because when you are thinking about some ideas, some problem, some need you want to solve, whether with a product or services, so that is called the first step when you are just going for the entrepreneurships. So you have to just identify the opportunity, being entrepreneur, and then we have to go with a value proposition. What is the meaning of value proposition? That means, which means your idea will solve the problem better than others. So when we see the case, when we see the value propositions, there's a one very famous case in India, right? The Oyo rooms, Ritesh Agarwal. That notice that some budget hotels in India have inconsistent in service. So what he had started the oil rooms to provide like a pristine environment, like a clean, affordable, and standardized rooms. So that is called value proposition. So if you wish to go for the entrepreneurship, then first and foremost things you have to take care about the identifying opportunities and defining the value propositions of your product and services. If that consists in your idea, if those two parts consist in your ideas, definitely then you can go for the next one. The next one says that is an assembling team. Now you have ideas, now you have value propositions, but you are not alone to just pursue it into the market. So once the idea is clear, then entrepreneur needs to build a team of people who have the right skills, whether it's like a technology, marketing, finance, like operations, that help to build the business. And there's a very famous case on that. You see the Flipkart, the founders like Sachin and Vinay Bansals hired tech experts, delivery people, and marketing professionals to grow the business. So if you don't have the team, and if you have good idea, you have value proposition, but if you are unable to assemble the team, which can just make your idea, which can just make your idea publicized, which can make your idea to go to the people, then again your entrepreneurships, your ventures will not go for the lending period. Now third comes that is a raising capital. Now to grow the business, entrepreneurs need money, and for things like technology or staff salaries, marketing, productions, and and for that they raise capitals, whether from investors, banks, family or friends, or government schemes, whatsoever, whosoever. So raising capital is also entrepreneurship skills. So before knowing the laws, these are the things that you have to take care. Obviously, once you are in this business, once you are in this game, you have to know the laws. So that part I will come. But these raising capital. Now you take the example of like a Zomato started as a small restaurant listing site. To grow, they raised capital from investors like InfoAge. And now you see where the Zomato is, like a later bit. Global investors also they are now ready to invest for the Zomato. The next part comes that is a product service, right? What you are going to do, whether you are going to give the product, your entrepreneurship skills, whether it is a product based or it is a service based. The actual product or service is created, tested, and launched in the market. The business also focuses on marketing to like to spread the words and sales, that is to generate the revenue. Now there's a good case on that. You see the boat, the audio device company developed like a trendy earphones and the speakers and marketed them heavily, and that is on social media with celebrity endorsement. And the last part comes that is called the harvest, means exist or grow. Now here, whether you sell your business and makes the profit, because there are so many entrepreneurs after just making their business profitable, now they exist and they go for the next. So whether you sell their business or you continue with the growth, right? You take the example like a Paytm that started small but grew into large digital payment platform. Now went for the IPO, initial public offering, as well to raise more funds and expand. So these are the basic things. These are the stages of the entrepreneurship. So if anybody, those who are listening here, young entrepreneurs, next generation, Gen Z, right? Now they have to take care of these things academically, I mean say at large. Until unless they won't understand these stages of the entrepreneurs, they cannot go for the second part, that is the law part of the entrepreneur. Now, again, we see the business structures, because once you know the stages of your entrepreneurs, then we go for the business structure. Okay, what kind of entrepreneurs, what kind of business structures we have to keep? Whether we have to go for the sole proprietorship, or we have to go with a partnership, we have to go for the LLP, private limited company, one-person company. These all depends on your way of thinking, your those stages where you are, what kind of idea you have. Because generally, when I have been teaching students here, what I find that students, they are saying, okay, sir, when I ask them, okay, after the completions, would you go for some organization? Would you work for some years? They say, no, no, sir, I want to start a business. Do you have idea? Do you have any venture things idea? Then they suggest, sir, I do have money. So here, generally in uh, Asian countries, or especially in India, right, business means money makes money. If you have money, then you can start a business. Whether you have idea, that is the secondary part. But when they study it, when you see the Western countries' business style, business structures, then whatsoever name you remember, you will find that they have idea. Because of that, they became businessmen. We don't know, I mean, say Mark Zuckerberg, whether they have I mean, say money or not when they have started Facebook, but now they have. But when you ask Indian MBA students where I have been teaching, they say, I'm saying, I do have money, so I consider money breeds money. So if I would have, whether idea I'll generate later on. So here the structure, business structure depends upon what kind of idea you have, what kind of business you want to run for the longer period, for the lingering period. So just we can choose this one, any AMS, whether sole proprietorship, partnership, LLP, private limited company, one person company. Now these are the some legal registrations that when you are going for that, you have to just take care about the ban, TAN, GSC registration, Shop and Establishment Act, professional taxes, MSME registrations. These are the basic things, basic fundamentals that when you start your ventures, you have to know. Young entrepreneurs, they have to know. These are the intellectual property rights, IPR, the trademark, copyright, patent. Now, contract law basics, that when you are in this entrepreneur's business, when you are in these ventures, these contract things you have to know that. There's a legal aspect, like the Indian Contract Act 1872, or the Sale of Goods Act, or the Companies Act, or Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, or Consumer Protection Act. These things, these are the five basics legal aspects of entrepreneurs that you have to know. One is the Indian Contract Act, right? Indian Contract Act 1872, we have to know. Sale of Goods Act 1930, we have to know. Then we have to Companies Act, right? 2013, or Amendment 2015, the latest, we have to know. Again, we have to also understand the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Then again, we have to Consumer Protections Act 2019. These are the things that every entrepreneurs, we must know, that how this act plays a very significant role, very pivotal role when you are deciding to grow your entrepreneurships. If you don't know these things and you jump into that, obviously, right, you consider that, okay, I will hire some professionals for these things. But even though, because people invest on you, not on your professional, people see you, right? So being entrepreneurs, you have to know these all things. Next part comes, there's these labor laws for entrepreneurs. Now, as Shruti ma'am already suggested that 29 laws, central laws, it has been converted into 4 labor codes, like wages code, right? Social security code, these all things, right? So these are the things that what young entrepreneurs must know. Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Bonus Act 1965, Employment Provident Fund 1952, Employees State Insurance Act 1948. Now, when I have been teaching young professionals in MBA colleges, what I find is now they have a problem to, I'm saying, to when they read the labor laws, industrial relations, legal aspects, they can say, okay, I'll just later I'll see that. They don't enjoy reading laws. They don't enjoy the reading the complexity of laws, because without knowing laws, they are unable to draft even the letters, even the legal letters. They have a problem to draft until unless you don't know these laws. Next part comes, that's some dispute resolution mechanism. That is the later part. But because youngs are there, right? So I consider rights arbitrations, mediations, litigations, and legal counsels. These are the things. These are the machineries, right? That when you are going to solve the problems before the court. These are the things that you have to know. And the last, the recent legal developments. Also, we have to say that what are the changes. When we say that early, when the Companies Act 1956, then there was no like a one-person company was not available. One person could not start a company. OPC was not available when the 2013 amendment took place. Then there one person also can start. So being entrepreneurs, right? When you are going to start the entrepreneurship, that these things you have to take care. These laws you have to take care. Even I mean, as ma'am has already said, that if you don't know the laws, right, you have to just cost heavily today or tomorrow. So you just without any doubt, without even an iota of doubt, just consider and just go with the laws. Then whether what kind of MSA business you do have, what kind of ventures you are going to start, if you are following it, so definitely the in a longer period that your business would be fruitful. So I consider these are the things that I have prepared for the students for this uh, 20-minute sessions. So thank you for that. If you have any queries, please you go on, please.
Firstly, that was a great speech, Anjit ji. And I guess you briefly instructed us on all the laws present in corporates, consumer protection से लेके companies act. So that was a great exposure for all our entrepreneurs sitting here. I would like to draw your attention to two questions we have in the chat box. If you can just go through them.
Okay. Okay. So uh, as someone deeply in both organizational development and labor laws, how do you view the role of proactive legal structures in shaping a healthier employer-employee relationship in early stage startups? What policies or frameworks would you recommend that entrepreneurs institutionalize early on to prevent future conflicts and build a compliant, ethical, and performance-driven workplace? See, for that, when we talk about employer and employee relationship at the early stage of a startup, right? So, as I have said earlier, that Industrial Dispute Act, like 1947, right? Now, everything has been written very concisely and precisely with a precision remark. I mean, say, what I consider, I mean, so what I think, being a professor of legal aspects, that we don't have to just go with the two minds. When for everything there is an act, and everything is written very precisely and with the precisions that employer and employee, if they wish to continue the healthier relationships, because if there is a dispute among or between employer and employee by any means, that we have witnessed that couple of years before, right, I mean, so 1 decades before, one HR managers at Maruti Suzuki, he was burnt alive in Haryana. There was a strike. We have seen that how industrial relations went, I mean, so haphazard, and how that resulted that a strike went violent, and the HR manager was burnt alive, and still the that nightmare. Whenever just I'm going to teach that HR case into the classroom, still people feel fear, ki, sir, should I be the HR or not, because of such kind of violent. So when everything is written, right, okay, we have to start, we have to run our organizations. If we want to maintain the healthier relationship between employer and an employee, then both stakeholders, the employee and employer, they have to follow the legal things. They have to follow what the act says. Act is not opinion based. Act is a fact based. When we say that, when someone says, it's my opinion, now keep the opinion aside right now, because act works on a fact. So when something is a fact, until and unless it is not amended, continue with the fact rather than opinion. When you try to put your opinion on the fact, then such kind of incident will take place. So what I consider, that if you want to maintain the healthier relationship between employer and employee, then continue with the IR, industrial relations. Already is a given. Industrial Dispute Act is there. Factories Acts are there. So please continue with the provisions, whatever provisions are there, followed by employee and simultaneously employer. The next question says, Uh, that with the rapid growth of a startup and gig economy in India, how can entrepreneurs navigate the complexities of employment laws while balancing innovations, flexibility, and compliances? In your experience, what are the most common legal blind spots and new ventures tend to overlook in how they can strategically align their HR practices with the labor law obligations from the outset? Okay, the question is like the startup and gig economy in India right now. Earlier, when the gig economy uh, was not in a uh, right structures, now included now in new law, gig economy also has been included into the this labor laws. Like so, earlier it was like unorganized sector, but now people have been talking about gig economy, but not in every sector, not in every, because when we consider gig economy in teaching profession, then it's a very difficult that one freelancer, because when we are in some especially some special industries, right, and it's a very difficult to follow, right? Okay, and okay, so I hope that uh, okay, no questions more. Okay, yes, sir. Now, if you have, sir, any questions for the audience, please. Okay, or if you have any
I
questions
would like to
already.
request all the audience to put forth their questions if any. If you have any questions, you may please raise your hands. Anjit, you can stop sharing the screen meanwhile.
Okay,
Anyone who has any questions may raise your hands, please, and put forth your questions to Dr. Shah. No questions, participants? Okay,
I have already shared my Gmail, sir. So if you have
sure.
any later on,
Sure. Thank you. That was a great speech, by the way, Anjit ji. Even I, when I talk of laws, I tend to forget Consumer Protection Act by chance. So that's thanks from my side for reminding me that. Thank you a lot,
thank you,
Anjit.
sir, for organizing such kind of, because generally
Sure.
when I just go for teaching, even I go for teaching at Symbiosis or some institute in Pune, then just I say that these kind of seminars or conferences generally, especially for these laws, because this is also makes
Sure.
aware among the students and those who wish to become the future entrepreneur. So thank you, sir, even to just make
Sure, Anjit. It
society
was a
aware
pleasure
with these.
hosting you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, moving ahead to the close of this remarkable conference session, we would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you. The knowledge shared, the insights gained, and the connections made throughout today's session have all contributed to the success of this event. We are truly grateful for all of your participation. As we wrap up today's conference session, we kindly request all the attendees and speakers to take a small moment and provide your valuable feedback and reviews on our YouTube channel. Your input and thoughts are highly appreciated as they will help us improve future events and continue delivering high quality conferences. You can access all our previously hosted 44 international conferences on our YouTube channel, SK Associates and Group. So thank you everyone for your participation and for being an integral part of this remarkable conference. We look forward to your reviews and hope to see you all at Conference 4.5 Session 2 tomorrow. Until we meet, stay inspired, keep dreaming, and continue to strive for excellence.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all, and farewell for now.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.